Kyle, you're here for a very special reason because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is so important to get the word out about this. And you've teamed up with the Bedford Breast Center in Beverly Hills for the first ever Kyle Richards Annual Mammogram Day. What can you tell us about this event?
Well, I teamed up with the Bedford Breast Center and Dr. Richardson because I've been going there myself for years. You may have even seen it on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills when Lisa, Ren, and I went in to have our mammograms. So I was just very proud to, I want women to be reminded to get in there and get their mammograms and to do their self-exams every month religiously, because you really can catch it early and save your life. So I thought this was a great thing to do, in honor of my mom, and just to get the message out there and use my platform, which is not always the greatest thing, but when we can use it for something good, this is like the most important thing to me. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, you mentioned your mother, Kathy, who, we saw your journey with her on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You lost Kathy Richards to breast cancer and have dedicated the event to her, which is so, so lovely. Why do you think it's so important for women to take advantage of Mammogram Day? Because I gotta say, it seems very intimidating to get a mammogram, and all I've ever heard from women is how much they hurt. So what can you tell us to make this process a little bit less intimidating?
Well, that's why I wanted to do this PSA, because I know so many people are too scared to get a mammogram. My mom didn't get a mammogram for 5 years because she was afraid. So when I think about the fact that if my mom had, she could still be here with her children, her grandchildren, and now her great-grandchildren. So, I don't want other families and other women to go through that pain and loss. So it's such an easy thing to do. And really, there are so many things that can be done now. And, hearing the word cancer is so scary, but it's not a death sentence. If you catch it early, you can, get rid of it and live a great life. So why not do that? Take that minute every month to do your self-exam, and then every year to get a mammogram.
What age do you recommend women to go start their first ever mammogram? I mean, is 30 too young? Is 40 too old? What's the range?
I believe, and obviously I'm not a doctor, Dr. Richardson could answer that question better, but I believe the number was always 40, but I think if you have family history, it may be even earlier. I know we're hearing of earlier cases than ever before. I read stories all the time about women in their 20s and 30s, and, we're a family of like all women. And I have, between my sisters and I, we're 3 sisters, and between us we have 12 kids, 9 of them which are women, female. So it's really important to me to talk about it with my children and have that be an open conversation. So it just becomes normal. When you're in that shower once a month, just do it. It takes less than a minute and it can save your life.
Well, I was just going to say, you mentioned, you're teaming up with longtime breast specialist, Dr. Heather Richardson, who's just phenomenal, to bring attention to the importance of breast self-exam in the shower, just to get early detection in early. So for people watching who might not be able to attend the event and learn all about this, can you tell us why, self-exams are so important and the signs that we need to look out for? Is there a time where it's too early? Should we freak out about everything that we feel? Because, times of the month matter, and breasts can change. What should we really be looking out for to detect those early signs?
I believe, that they suggest doing it, right after menstruating, if you're still menstruating. But, we talk a lot about that in the PSA, because I also had many questions, if you have dense breasts, it's going to feel differently. So, basically, you're looking for, I think, a hard lump, but it doesn't necessarily hurt. So, you don't think that that's the sign, like, oh, it doesn't hurt, it's fine. Right. So, you'd have to go in and, have a doctor look at you, obviously, but doing the self-exam, you want to start now, and then, look for changes is, I think, a really important thing. Like you want to get like a baseline with a mammogram, you kind of want to start getting a baseline doing the self-exam too, because if you're doing that all the time, 1 month you may say, well, this feels a little different. And, most likely nothing, but you have to, check.
Well, I have to ask, because how could they not support you in this? But will any of your Real Housewives of Beverly Hills co-stars be supporting you at the event or participating themselves, Kyle?
Potentially. I mean, well,
I'm hoping that they can get behind this at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are going to be a couple people joining me for sure.
Hopefully that's a good thing, Kyle. Hopefully that's a good thing, and not spilling drinks, because it's such an important message.
When I went in, when I went in with Lisa Rinna on the show, I think it was not last year, the year before, I'm thinking, you know, regular day, I'm going in to have a mammogram, and Lisa, they did hers and she was fine. And then they called me back in. They're like, we see something. We need to see you for a minute. I was so terrified. And, you know, I had the crew with me that's been there with me since the beginning of the show, which we're going on our 11th year now. And they just kind of like stopped, and I just started sobbing, and they're like kind of like put the camera, and they felt bad. I was like, I don't know, you know what, I don't know what's going to happen right now, because obviously losing my mother to breast cancer, I always have that in the back of my mind. So I was very relieved to know it was nothing. They just had to take an extra look, and, you know, and all was good. But it's really important, you know, to go somewhere where you feel comfortable, because, you know, I'm the kind of person, like, I don't like to go into hospitals and the parking structure, and it freaks me out. So, you know, going someplace where you feel comfortable is really key, because it makes it like more enjoyable to go, honestly.
Well, I remember that moment with you and Rinna, and it was so powerful, especially as a woman. I mean, thank you so much for being vulnerable, because I'm sure that was really hard to do, but I think that you were sort of the strong force that maybe a lot of women needed to see in order to detect this early. So Kyle, thank you so much for all your hard work. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Best of luck to everything for the event.
Thank you so much. Great seeing you.
The first Kyle Richards annual Mammogram Day is happening this Saturday, October 24th at the Bedford Breast Center in Beverly Hills.